Today we're going to learn the three different types of variation. First, we have direct variation. The equation is y equals k times x, where k is the constant of variation. And you'll see it spoken as y is directly proportional to x. The key word is direct. Okay, when you see the word direct, this is the equation. Next, we have joint variation. The key word is jointly. It's normally read as y varies jointly as x and z. The equation is y equals k times x times z. And again, k is the constant of variation. Next is inverse variation. The key word is inverse. The equation is y equals k divided by x. And it's read as y is inversely proportional to x. So let's look at some examples. We're going to determine what variation we have. So here, I'm going to write down in the middle here, if it's direct, it will look like this. If it's joint, it will look like this. If it's inverse, it will look like this. Okay, so let's see which one this is. This one looks like direct, and your k value is 2. This one is direct. Number 2, this one is inverse. Your k value is 24. This one is joint. Your k value is 5. This one, I have to get y by itself so that it looks like one of these. So divide both sides by 3. You get y equals x divided by 3. Or you can write it as y equals 1/3 x. So this is varies directly. This is direct variation. And your k value is 1/3. Here, I'm going to have to divide by x. This one is inverse variation, and your k value is 36. You can do this all in one step by multiplying by the reciprocal, which is 3/4. So you're left with y equals 3/4xz. So your k value is 3/4, and this is joint variation. Now, if you're not familiar with multiplying by the inverse, well, I hope you are, but if not, that's okay. Multiply this side by 3, that cancels. So you multiply that by 3. So you're left with 4y equals 3xz, and then divide it by 4. You get the same thing. Next, I can multiply this by x. Multiply by x. Those cancel, multiply this side by x. So this is direct variation. And your k value is 2/5. Over here, divide by 2. This can be written as a equals 1/2 times b times h. This is the area of a triangle formula, but this is joint variation, and your k value is 1/2. Now let's do some examples for direct variation. This is the key word direct, so you know the equation will be k times x. Okay, so if y is directly proportional to x and y, to x, and y equals 28, so y equals 28 when x is 7. Find x when y is 52. Well, first, let's go ahead and solve for my k. So I'm going to divide by 7, divide by 7. So I get k is equal to 4. Okay, so let me write my equation now. y equals, my k value is 4. Now let's continue. Find x when y is 52. So if y is 52, I'm going to find x. So I need to divide by 4. And 52 divided by 4 is 13. So that's my answer. Next, R is directly proportional. So R is directly proportional to the square of S squared. Remember, it's normally y equals k and then x. But they're saying instead of x, they're doing the square of s, which is s squared. So this is my equation. Okay, let's see the other information. R is 72 when S is 12. So S is 12. Well, 12 squared is 144. So let's solve for K. You put this into the calculator, you'll get a half, 0.5. So my equation, R equals 0.5 S squared, because my K value is 0.5. So find R when S is 8. Okay, so they're saying S is 8. So I'm going to erase the S and put an 8 there. Okay, so R equals 0.5 times 8 squared is 64. Half of 64 is 32. So R is 32. Next, we're going to do a joint variation example. The key word is joint. If y varies jointly with x and z, y is 48, x is 8, and z is 15. So let's just solve for k for now. 8 times 15 is 120. And I'm going to divide both sides by 120. And 48 divided by 120 is 0.4. So that is what k is equal to. So I know in my equation, k is 0.4. Okay, so find y when x is 14 and z is 20. So find y, I know this is 0.4, when x is 14 and z is 20. So if you multiply all of these together, you'll get y is 112. Next, another varies jointly. So P varies jointly, so it'll be x times q times the cube of r, the cube of r. So I'm going to cube r. That is what varies jointly looks like. Plain jointly is just this, y equals k x z. So this is for this problem. Okay, so let's look at the information. They said P is 270, so P is 270. We don't know K. Q is 6. And R is 3. Let's simplify this. I know 3 cubed, 3 times 3 times 3 is 27, times 6 times K equals 270. 6 times 27 is 162. And now I can divide both sides by 162. This simplifies down. This simplifies down to, I can divide this by 54 and this by 54. So 270 divided by 54 is 5. 162 divided by 54 is 3. So K is 5/3. Okay, so I'm going to substitute that into my problem. So find P. Your K value is 5/3. Q is 3, and R is 5. And remember, R is cubed. We just plugged it into this problem. 5 cubed is 125 times 3 times 5/3 is going to give you P. Well, those cancel out, and 5 times 125 will give me 625. So that's what P is equal to. Next problem. For Tom's saving account, the interest, I'll put I, interest varies jointly. So I'm going to have K times 2 variables times the principal amount and time. So that's your formula. In years since opening the account. If Tom opened the account 3 years ago, so for time, I'm going to put 3 with 1,200. That's how much he started with. That's your principal. You don't know K. And the interest, he earned $144 in interest. So let's just pause here and figure out what K is. Well, this is 144 equals K times this is 3,600. And I'm going to divide both sides by 3,600. I get K is equal to 0.04. That's important. So I can replace that into my formula. Interest is equal to 0.04 times the principal times time. And remember, principal is the number you start out with. So the amount of money you start with. So that doesn't change. So I have 0.04. Your principal is still 1,200 because that's how much you started with. However, it's asking how much interest will you have earned 8 years after opening the account. So time is 8. And that will give you my interest. Multiply all this together and you'll get $384 of interest. So those were some examples for joint variation. Remember, joint variation is the K constant of variation times X times Z. Now let's move on to inverse variation. If Y is inversely proportional to X, that's the formula for inverse variation. So they said Y is 7.5 when X is 8. So let's go ahead and solve for K. Multiply both sides by 8, and you will get 8 times 7.5 is 60. Okay, so my formula will be Y equals 60 divided by X. That's my K value. Okay, find X when Y is 5. So they're telling me Y is 5. Okay, turn it into a fraction. I can cross multiply. 1 times 60 is 60. 5 times X is 5X. Divide both sides by 5. I get X is 12. That's my answer. Next, inversely proportional. This is the formula for inverse proportional. Okay, so it says M is inversely proportional to the square root of N. The square root of N. Okay, so now let's look at the details. M is 27. N is 16. Okay. Well, the square root of 16 is just 4. Okay. Now let's solve for K. Multiply by 4. That cancels. Multiply by 4. So 4 times 27 is 108. So K is equal to 108. So this is my new formula. M equals 108 divided by the square root of n. Now the question says, find m when n is 64. So they're saying n is 64. Well, guys, the square root of 64 is just 8. And 108 divided by 8 is 13.5. So m is equal to 13.5. This was an inversely proportional problem. Let's do a word. Actually, no. Okay, so now let's do some combined variation. A combined variation is a relationship that contains both direct and inverse variation. We're going to combine the variations. So let's look at this. Y varies directly as x, so that's this. First of all, direct variation looks like this. Inverse looks like this. Okay, so y varies directly as x, but inversely as z. So I'll highlight it for you. This is the direct variation. Okay. And this is the inverse variation. Let's look at another example. A varies directly as B. So A varies directly as B, but inversely as C. So here's the direct, and the inverse is this one. All right, let's read the rest. If A is 16, when B is 12, okay, let's do that. A is 16, B is 12, C is 6. Let's stop there and find K. So 12 divided by 6 is 2. So this is actually 16 equals 2K. Divide both sides by 2. K is just 8. Okay, so we found that. So my equation is actually A equals 8 times B over C. Now, find A when B is 28. B is 28. And C is 4. C is 4. Okay? Type this into your calculator. 8 times 28 divided by 4 is 56. So A is 56. And that's it. That is inverse variation, joint variation, and direct variation. You have to have those 3 memorized. These 3 equations need to be memorized.